So you're still mad about the Alfie bot?
No. I'm fine. I was at a wedding. You had to get someone to fill in. It's fine. It's not a problem. We actually had a lot of feedback about last week's episode, so I'm just going to read out a couple of the DMs we got from our lovely fans. Love the show. Great coverage on the Momo story. Was great not having to listen to Alfie this week. That's a good one there. Yeah. We got another one here. Wow, Don, the co-host actually sounded human. Love the show. Keep it up.
Sounds great. Sounds good.
All right, one more. Alfie is a big gay. That's not even... Yeah, these are troll comments. Let's just move on. First section.
Okay, so I conferred with AlfieBot on how to market the blackface segment, and his suggestion was Blackface Matters.
I'm really not okay with this title.
That's all right. As far as I'm concerned, the fact that this keeps happening warrants its own segment. We keep coming back to this shit because it keeps happening, so we're going to keep covering it in its own dedicated segment. Because, all right, Blackface Matters. See?
Yeah, I get it. But Black Lives Matter is a whole movement, and we're kind of just hijacking that name for what is essentially a gag. But my liberal white guilt wants you to be able to express yourself, so I'm going to allow this.
Thank you.
Okay, so first up from The Guardian, Mexican TV network criticised for a brownface parody of the wickedly talented one and only Islamophobic.
I don't think that's how you say her name.
You say Adina, I say Adele.
Okay, so this Mexican TV personality dresses up in brownface to play a parody of an indigenous actress. So she puts on a bunch of brown makeup and had a prosthetic nose. And for some reason, the world still thinks this shit is okay. I am bored already. Next story.
Well, if you're as woke as I am, you may not be able to see colour. Some cars with the self-driving inclination seem to have trouble with this.
According to a study of research, most self-driving cars are unable to see darker skin pigments. Scientists split images of pedestrians up based on skin colour.
Using the Fitzpatrick scale, which is kind of weird that we have that. Like, who is this Fitzpatrick fellow and why is he organising people based on their skin colour?
Yeah. Anyway, they found that the car sensors were more proficient at spotting lighter skin tones, which basically means that if you're black or brown, you're more likely to get hit by one of these things because they literally cannot see you crossing the road.
Which is kind of good that these cars can't really see colour. They don't distinguish between black or white.
Yeah. I mean, they're hitting people.
Yeah, it's not so good.
No. Right, so we did the brownface thing. Cars kill black people.
Right, this week in bullshit?
What's your opinion on people throwing cheese at their kids?
Not much. Is this a thing? Like, are we talking whole blocks of cheese? Is this an issue?
Yeah, apparently it fucking well is.
I don't know. This isn't a thing.
Yeah, no, it is.
Let me look this up. Alright. What the Why are people doing this?
So, apparently a good way to get your kids to calm down is to throw cheese.
What the is this? This kid doesn't look happy. He looks embarrassed. And kids don't get embarrassed. What the Why is this? Nah, this story. This is bullshit.
Yeah, well, this is This Week in Bullshit.
No, we're not doing this.
Okay, alright, next story.
What the fuck? This one looks fucking miserable.
Okay, next story. A guy survived 5 days in the snow eating nothing but Taco Bell hot sauce packets.
The guy who started it even apologised, but only because he stole the video from someone else. What the fucking fuck? Wait, seriously? Taco Bell hot sauce? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's pretty badass. So the whole story is basically there in the headline. A guy and his dog got trapped in his car as a bunch of snow fell in Oregon. Over the course of 5 days, he'd periodically start the engine to warm the car up, but most part just fed on Taco Bell fire sauce to keep him going. And what do you know? He's still alive.
What a legend. Speaking of legends, Living Messiah and human beach ball Danny DeVito took a fall at a press conference for Dumbo. Literally, the only good thing about any of the Disney live-action remakes, Danny DeVito.
Is he okay?
Yeah, no, he's alright. It was just terrible to watch. I actually had to see this, and it's not good. He's definitely getting on, but the footage is pretty upsetting.
Oh my
Fuck.
Do you like porn?
I need porn.
Well, it sucks to be you, because from April you'll have to submit personal documents in order to verify your age if you want to view porn in the United Kingdom. Sorry, Aaron.
So the point of this is to stop kids from stumbling upon pornographic content.
Which is fair. It will stop them from stumbling upon things like lesbians,
Anal,
rimming,
spanking,
felching,
BDSM,
DP,
voyeur,
trans with girl,
trans with guy,
trans with trans.
feet.
What about furries?
They should be banned.
Yeah, agreed. The weird thing to me is that the government is now going to have a record of all the porn you're watching. So they're going to know everything about your viewing habits, because it'll all be tied to your personal details. So you couldn't get away with watching, say, hentai.
Or like just Japanese porn.
Or MILFs.
Gilfs.
Gilfs, even.
Lactation.
Nurses.
What about babysitter porn?
What about bukkake?
Amputee porn.
Ball busting.
Latina.
Russian.
Swedish.
French.
Germans do great porn.
Brazilian.
Arabs.
Inuits.
Yeah. Or what about interracial porn?
What about BBC?
Cuckolds. Yes. And these things rarely stay in one place. At the moment, this is just the UK, but if it were to spread further, we could see a much larger cross-section of porn categories being held behind an ID gate.
And here in the UK, we already have enough things being held off limits through what's been banned over here.
Yeah, like face-sitting,
Fisting,
caning,
female ejaculation,
strangulation,
humiliation,
and pissing on each other.
Yeah. I'm going to miss Pornhub. It feels like I'm taking it out back and putting one in his head. Had a lot of good times, but I guess we all have to finish. I think it's time to grab the tissues and just kind of mop this story up.
Well, not so fast, Alfie. In other news, a forward-gestured to Pornhub is becoming a genuine competitor for YouTube. With all of the recent drama around YouTube's policies that are getting perfectly okay videos demonetized and various other dramas too numerous to cover here, people are looking for an alternative video sharing service, and Pornhub's community manager has said that they might be able to fill that hole, so to speak.
Obviously, YouTube has never been a smooth ride for creators, and there has been a lot of drama recently, so it isn't so crazy for Pornhub to potentially swoop in and capitalise on a disgruntled user base, given that they already have the infrastructure and the means to moderate content already in place.
Certainly, if Pornhub don't do it, somebody else will, so we'll probably be seeing you over on Dailymotion very soon.
Yeah. With all this porn news, it's really not a good time to be looking at the UK government. In fact, I don't want to get political, is the name of this section, where I take a quick look at the political circus. This week, 14 members of the Conservative Party have been suspended for Islamophobic comments found in a Facebook group dedicated to human tailor's dummy and demon headmaster Jacob Rees-Mogg. This comes as no real surprise. In fact, it seems about right. The Conservative priorities clearly aren't in improving their optics and making the party a bit more inclusive to Muslims. It seems they'd much rather flood the streets with military to solve a problem that could have ended with funding for our police service. Yes, Home Secretary Gavin Williamson, who could very well play the stammering idiot in any Richard Curtis rom-com movie, has deemed it necessary to potentially bring in the armed forces to supplement the underfunded police force in an effort to, get this, tackle knife crime. It seems bringing a gun to a knife fight is a literal policy being embraced by this Tory government. What do you think, Don?
Sorry, I was playing Angry Birds.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, your lack of appreciation for politics, it really makes me want to, fly off the handle a bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I feel like this is an injustice. I just want to get angry and stand up and shout a bit.
Okay.
It just makes me want to set the record straight on how my version of things is the right one and how important it is that everyone understands it. And for fuck's sake, Don, can you just read the story?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. R. Kelly had a bit of a wobbly on CBS the other day.
Thank you. Yes, R. Kelly was interviewed on Wednesday morning, where he was given the opportunity to address the recent documentary and further allegations levelled at him. You probably know the crime, so we won't get into it, at least because we've already filled our vulgarity quota in this episode. Yeah. In his defence, R. Kelly raised a few interesting points, saying,
Y'all killing me with this,
and adding that,
this is not me, I'm fighting for my life.
What I think was most interesting was when he brought up the,
30 years of my career.
To be honest, I was pretty convinced when he said,
Y'all trying to kill me.
Yeah, I think he summed it up best as,
You're killing me, man.
See, there's only one problem with R. Kelly's whole defence strategy.
What's that?
He's alive.
Ah, yes, you're right. He needs to take a rhinestone out of Michael Jackson's glove, get it, and just not be alive to defend himself. Obviously, the King of Pop's been dead for a good 10 years now, and it's worked out pretty well for him.
Only because he's been too dead to have seen the recent documentary Leaving Neverland, which focuses on the sexual assault allegations of two former fans. Well, I can't imagine they're fans anymore. Apparently this documentary is very gruelling in its details of the crimes Michael Jackson has been accused of, and generated a renewed interest in the Michael Jackson case. A few radio stations, including BBC Two, have pulled his songs from the air, and the classic Simpsons episode, Stark Raving Dad, has been pulled entirely from syndication.
Yeah, it seems pretty bad for the Jackson estate.
Yeah. Looking at the comments and reactions, a lot of people have expressed disgust, shock, and outrage at the nature of these crimes and how it's changed their view on a once great pop icon. Which is weird to me because he was already known as a criminal when I was a child.
Yeah.
I guess that's irrelevant. On the other side, we've had a devoted Michael Jackson fans standing their ground, protesting outside of Channel 4 headquarters in response to their decision to air the documentary, with people flying in from as far as Australia to maintain his innocence. The whole thing got even weirder when Michael Jackson fans raised money to distribute bus adverts that read, "Facts don't lie, people do." Perhaps the second biggest lie to be written on a bus since the Brexit buses. Sorry, I said I wouldn't get political.
Clearly, with so many voices from either side of this argument, things simply just aren't black or white about this. To be fair, though, Michael Jackson has gone through this trial before, being acquitted of any wrongdoing, showing that ultimately, in the face of these accusations, he could still beat it. Regardless of this apparent victory, he could almost be heard saying, "Leave me alone," as he retreated from the limelight.
Are you seriously...
I got one more. Ultimately, I think it's just a moot point to go after a dead man. While it's important to give the victims a voice, it simply isn't productive to try to punish someone who isn't even on this planet anymore. There simply isn't anything to gain here. He left us with a wealth of wonderful pop music, something that we should really all come together around and appreciate.
That's not even a Michael Jackson song, that's a Beatles cover, firstly. Secondly, I guess I kind of understand what you're saying when you say there's no point to punish someone who isn't around, but what's the point in defending him for the same reasons?
Well, it's not so much that he needs to be defended. In fact, no. Either side. I looked at the story and I just thought, what can we actually do with this information?
Yeah, that's fair. There's nothing that can be done. If we ban Michael Jackson, people will be upset because it's censorship.
Yes, yeah.
And if we continue to celebrate Michael Jackson, we're celebrating...
But this is just it. This idea that it needs to be seen that celebrating Michael Jackson is endorsing his behaviour. No. We've talked about, like you and me have talked about this idea of separating art from the artist, right? And I think
this is why I can still listen to R. Kelly.
If you must, I've never listened to it. I do not care about this R. Kelly story.
No, really. I fucking hate R. Kelly.
The point is, he's dead. Look, I understand that people need to be held accountable, but this has become less about Michael Jackson and more about what people want to do about Michael Jackson. They want to stop listening to his music, or they want to keep listening to it and not believe the evidence. The problem is there's no concrete evidence either way, and so no genuine ability to make a proper judgment, just a best guess. That being the case, listen to his music if you want, and just separate it from the artist. As I say, we've already talked about this idea of that separation being important.
Yeah, there's a book, Death of the Artist, that talks about this, and I think it's a fair road to go down, unless you're J.K. Rowling, in which case you will fight to reject this.
Yes, yeah, she won't leave that alone.
No, stop it, J.K. Rowling.
It's ours. Stick hands off.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's people's choice whether or not to listen to, or whether or not to play, like on the radio, his music. But there's enough evidence on both sides that we need to be able to understand each other's conclusions to this.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah... It doesn't really get us clicks.
Yeah, that's true. No. Should we just go out and say it?
I think, let's wrap this up.
How about in the words of R. Kelly?
Y'all killing me with this!
Lesbians?
Anal.
Rimming?
Spanking.
Felching.
BDSM.
I'm so sorry. It's quite hard to do now, isn't it?